Since the Sugar Show displayed his striking in the very first season of the Contender Series, Uncle Dana knew he had in his hands a future cash cow.
Three-piece dinner with biscuits. Oh!
From the get-go, Sugar made it obvious that this was going to be his show. If Snoop Dogg is screaming your name out, you know you've made it. Already in his UFC debut, O'Malley showcased that every single fight of his would be dictated by entertainment. The timing and speed of his shots, paired with the zest of his style, made him a sight to see.
Left kick, it's money for him. Oh!
Took him back to his feet. Oh! Wow! Spinning attack from O'Malley.
And even despite injuring his foot, O'Malley powered through it all. So we automatically saw that Sugar also had the heart to be inside the UFC. And of course, Joe Rogan had to be sure to get his interview post-fight, in classic Rogan fashion. As his popularity grew, Sean O'Malley's presence in that octagon grew with him. O'Malley became characterized by his rapid fast kicks, persistent stance switches, and feints.
And he has that Mexican...
His finish over Jose Quinones describes vividly how unorthodox yet technical O'Malley is, leading us to believe he could become champion soon.
Room down.
O'Malley goes high. Now short uppercut. Tecco covers up.
People questioned O'Malley's opposition, but the same people forget that each fighter was considered somewhat of a threat before their fight. The truth is, O'Malley is still the dark horse of the bantamweight division, with a ton of promise yet to be unveiled.
In and out, he does the fence.
And he's been doubted throughout his entire career. And to put it simply, he proves people wrong. Notice how O'Malley works here. He first feints his strong backhand thinking an uppercut is coming, hence forcing Wineland to drop his hand to parry that from Sugar, only to leave his chin wide open for a complete bomb. Of course, Sugar gets a lot of underserved hate at times, but for what reasons? Well, O'Malley obviously has a green, blazy personality, but as an athlete, he is very skilled. And the UFC fan base will at times target those with evident superstar qualities to them. But, as we all know, the Sugar Show has made some bold claims to all of us in the past, and you probably know exactly what I mean. When O'Malley finally fought Chito Vera, a small kick to the perineal nerve of O'Malley immobilized him on that leg. Now obviously when a fighter is off one leg only, his output is bound to be placed in jeopardy. Once the fight went to the ground, it was fairly easy for Chito Vera to wrap it up and send O'Malley home.
Maybe for Sean that it's a nerve issue that could recover.
Yeah, we'll hear up. He fell down. We'll hear about it in the corner if he gets it. Oh!
Huge elbow from Chito.
For the haters, they all were quick to say that his career was now officially over. But was it really? Immediately in his fight back, O'Malley began to style on Almeida, announcing his return.
Almeida needs to close the distance. Oh! I cannot believe he's still standing.
Oh, and a follow-up left hand. Fight continues. Almeida back up, but for how long?
A third-round finish for O'Malley would consolidate his comeback, and for right now, it was uphill for Sugar.
That front kick up the middle.
Oh, that left man hurt him bad. He's doing it again.
With his colorful hair and zesty celebrations, it was obvious that the man was going nowhere. O'Malley's 2021 became even more eventful when he was scheduled to fight short-notice opponent Chris Moutinho. While Sugar was hitting Moutinho with big shots, the newcomer kept moving forward like a zombie.
He is getting tagged.
That front kick to the body is money.
Despite being very durable, Chris kept on getting tagged repeatedly, like a neo-zombie. O'Malley used the newcomer's stagnant stance as target practice, and it was getting ugly. Herb Dean had seen enough and ended the fight right there.
And most of the MMA world will respect Chris Moutinho.
O'Malley would now attempt to re-enter the rankings as he took on Brazilian Raulian Paiva. The overwhelming power and precision of O'Malley was too much for Paiva.
Lightweight fighters we have seen.
Big land to the right for O'Malley. And an uppercut. Big right.
O'Malley's first invitation inside the top 10 was the always durable Pedro Munhoz. The first round was quite uneventful, with opponents finding each other at range, but none really hitting meaningful shots. An unfortunate eye poke sustained by the young Punisher would unfortunately cut this fight off in an anticlimactic end. Despite it being declared a no contest, Sugar declared it a win in his books. O'Malley was now tasked to fight the former champ, Peter No Mercy Yan. Yan was considered by most fight fans as the most vicious bantamweight in the UFC, and this would be a huge step up for Sean. The Russian came into this fight considered as a heavy favorite, many counting out Sean before both men even walked inside the octagon. This fight would go down as one of the most controversial bouts in modern UFC history. With this bout being a 3-round fight, every round matters a lot. O'Malley showed in this fight that despite being in a war with Peter Yan, that he belonged amongst the elite of the bantamweight division. Yan forced Sean to go through some amount of adversity, but he still managed to hold his ground well. The Sugar Show showed resilience in the 3rd round when he burst Yan open with a glorious knee.
Flexibility helped there. Nice knee up the middle there from O'Malley.
O'Malley landed this beautiful high kick on Russian that would ultimately seal the deal. He ultimately got the nod from the judges, and this obviously brought a lot of controversy. On the same night Sugar won, current champ Aljamain Sterling defended his UFC belt. The two would face off after Sterling's latest defense against Henry, and the intensity was up in the air. Sterling is now considered an elite-level bantamweight inside the UFC. As we all know, his career has been riddled with controversy, all going back to the moment when he won the belt by DQ. It's not private knowledge, most fans dislike him, and perhaps even Dana White isn't the most friendly person towards Aljo. After all, since he won the title, he's had 2 controversial split decision wins. His only clear win was over a TJ Dillashaw that showed up with solely one arm, which scratched the win a bit. You know it's bad when your own hometown is booing you. Sterling is an unlikable fighter with a very weird fight style. When you compare him to Sean O'Malley, he may have the upper hand in wrestling, but people won't be rooting for Sterling in this fight. O'Malley will train his hardest for this fight, and will aim to knock out Sterling and bring back peace into the bantamweight division. We all know he's got the advantage on his stand-up game, and more than likely, that is where he will try to keep the fight at. As always, please do give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe.